All right. You know what time it is. Gotta get into this good old read. You feel something coming through. They spying again. They mad. Well, you just gonna have to be mad, honey. Cause I mean, I don't know. I just pick up. Um, I just pick up like jealousy and gossip, but it's like, what else is new? You know, what the fuck else is new? I went to the beach this morning, and the water was pretty warm. Well, not warm, but it won't freezing cold. So I got in the water, and the water guides slapped me in the vagina. You know, because I got a wax. They said, "Girl, wax that shit." Looking real bushy down there, huh? I got the message, honey. All right. Let me do my toes too. Ay, ay, ay. What are the messages? What are the messages? Me and my son had to go through some reconciliation too, you know, and I had to be honest with him about certain things going on. So, and I had to apologize because, in his eyes, I know that I come off like overprotective, you know, and, God wants me to have, God wants me to have more faith when it comes to my son's protection. But I be nervous when motherfuckers be trying to mess with him, because I just be like, well, I'm not nervous for him, I'm nervous for the other people, because it's, they have no idea. So we got the Five of Wands in reverse. Yeah, don't bring no competition to me. I'm not in the competition, because there's been like another priestess, like she's been trying to like compete with me. I don't understand. It's just like, if you are who you say you are, you should be able to discern me, and you should be able to discern that I'm not somebody that you should be doing that to. That's how I can tell when people are like unexperienced, because for one, even when I don't discern somebody, I never just tell myself I'm just going to assume something. If I don't feel right or something feels off, I'm just going to walk away from it, or just kind of move with caution. Somebody is sick, because I just, the moment that I came out here and decided I was going to do this reading, it just kind of felt like I had to throw up, and I just keep feeling that, you know. Maybe motherfuckers need to purge out them damn, that negativity. All that negativity, that should be making you sick. That should be fucking with your body. Five of Wands in reverse. So this is my reading. I don't understand why I'm doing my reading, but whatever. So Five of Wands in reverse. This has a lot to do too with my exes. I had already picked up that, my ex was out here like saying just crazy shit. Like, I don't understand what's wrong. Child, I'm trying to tell you, me and that man broke up in 2015. It's 2026. And it's crazy because I told him, we had a real conversation one day, and, he gets off on somebody feeling miserable about losing him, and him wanting to feel like he's the prize, and, motherfuckers missed out on him and all this type of stuff. But when it came to me, I told him, I said, I don't want anybody sitting around grieving me. Like, I don't want anybody in the world, like, that I have been with to be grieving me. That shit does not make me feel good. I do not get off on that. But I think that that's the way that a lot of men think, like, like him. So I mean, I never wanted him to be sitting around grieving me neither. I just wanted him to move the fuck on, and I thought that he moved the fuck on. And when I reached out to him a year later to reconcile with him, he tried to shit on me. That's how I knew he won't over it, and I knew he was going to regret doing that. So, I mean, whatever. So, with the world card in reverse, I've already stepped through the gates. So, how you doing? It really don't matter. Okay. So, I've gotten my shit together. I've been getting my shit together over the last 10 fucking years. So, motherfuckers have to start their phase over. So there are certain people that are being pushed back a timeline to where it's going to be anywhere from 5 years to 20 years. So wherever they were mentally, emotionally, spiritually 5 to 20 years ago, that's where they're going back to. That's the state of consciousness that they're going back to. So they have to do the phase all over. He was supposed to be taking this time with healing himself and letting go. We could have just deaded the situation had he just received the reconciliation, but he wanted to hold on to the anger. And obviously he never let it go. So he's been behind the scenes doing shit, saying shit, trying to team up with my family to take me down, trying to cause me devastation. And, when it comes to whoever he's dealing with romantically, he thinks that fucking with me is going to be some type of amusement or pleasure for her. I don't want to be with a man who's going to be intimidated by my ex. Because if I'm not with that person and I'm with you, it makes no sense as to why you don't have to compete with the past. You don't have to compete with anybody. Well, if I choose you, that's where I want to be. That's it. So it's unfortunate, right? So I have the Page of Pentacles here. Knight of Cups in reverse. So this is a dreamer. Is this about me and my ex? So this is about me and him. Yeah, he was a dreamer. Of course, that's what attracted me to him. He lost out on that. So somewhere in there he died off, but he was always about money. He's sitting up there trying to brainwash me with watching shows with the fabulous life of this person and that person. And I'm just saying to myself, nigga, we don't have jobs. We don't have careers that's to where we can buy each other jet planes and all that type of stuff. Why are you so money motivated? At this time, we had just came from a hard place financially, and we came together, put our resources together, and we were able to get a nice spot in a nice place and furnish the home. That's a blessing. People don't have it easy like that. And now you're sitting up here, you done got a step up. Now you just ready to be greedy. So I mean, it is what it is. So he wanted to have a soccer academy. He wanted to recruit people he wanted to recruit less fortunate individuals from different countries and house them and teach them soccer. You know what I mean? Football, soccer, football. So, it's like it never happened. And when I was with him, I was trying to help him make that shit happen. But he was not motivated. So I gave up because I didn't want that to be a strain on our relationship. When you love somebody, you do want to push them, you believe in them, you want to support them, but it's never about you, it's about them, because that's their dream. I was willing to give up on what I had going on to be able to accommodate myself to support him with his dream. But when I seen he won't, that, it's like, and my stepbrother Ricardo, Ricardo got drafted into the NFL. He used to play for the Raiders. I think he got into a bad accident, but Ricardo was doing the same thing during the time that I was with my ex. And so I told my dad about what my ex had going on. So he's just like, that sounds like something Ricardo got going on, so maybe they should hook up, try to get him to talk to him. But he won't even talk. He didn't even talk to him. He won't even ask him questions. Ricardo was recruiting for football, American football, not international football, not soccer, you know. And I was just like, why is he not asking him questions? Like, why is he not getting information? I had told him about Ricardo, and no, I didn't want him to try to use Ricardo as a stepping stone or something, but just to listen to his experience, just listen to some of the things that he had to go through and all this type of stuff. But he just seemed so uninterested. So after I saw that, I was just like, man, fuck this nigga, because you're not about to sit here and ruin my life not knowing what you want to do. And I'm sitting up here, you telling me you want to do something, then I'm sitting up here supporting you, trying to help you, trying to accommodate you, like trying to work myself around your life, the life that you want, that you see for yourself, like trying to be a part of your shit. I said, man, fuck that. I said, he gonna run my life into the ground with this. Then he come home trying to sell some Avon or something. He meet these people, and these people done brainwashed him, and he trying to get me involved with that shit. And it's kind of like what he was doing was kind of like a pyramid scheme. I could tell it was a pyramid scheme, and his family tried to tell him, but I felt like, well, as a man, he needed to figure it out himself. I believed in him. So whatever he wanted to do, I thought he could do it. I wasn't going to support him in that, because he talking about, he want me to stop doing what I'm doing and join him, because it's a whole bunch of couples, that be on this pyramid scheme together, and I'm just like, absolutely not. But of course, I didn't want to say, man, your family is right about that shit. I didn't want to do that to him. I'm his woman, so I'm supposed to support him. I thought we was going to be long term, and I thought in the beginning we was going to get married. That was going to be the one, but I was just like, after some time, I was just like, nah, this ain't it. So, I mean, it is what it is. And now look at him. He wanted to make it seem like he was such a prize and that I'm lost without him. And he on my social medias years later talking about, look at her, still ain't got it together, still ain't got her life, this, and that. And my thing is, it was fucked up, because he knew the trials and tribulations I had overcame. He saw who I was. And he would tell me all the time, he's just like, so you're just the type of person that people love to hate. They don't know, but they just love to hate you. How did he know that? Because he was the same way. He always could tell when somebody was jealous of me and I didn't want to see it. Why is that? Because he had the same perception of me too. Like, it is what it is. And years later, the results show and they speak. I just don't understand why he would even bring it up. If you're moving on with your life, I should be irrelevant. The night I called you to reconcile, and when you made your decision that you wanted to shit on me or whatever, that should have been your final decision, that I'm no longer a factor within your life or to you, period. But no, he was holding on. He been holding on for all these years. Then he watching me over social media, and he feeling some type of way, and this and that. Talking about me, trying to set me up, trying to help my mom with this insurance fraud and all this type of stuff. Want to make himself feel better, because he never made his dreams come true. He gave up. But it's kind of like, I don't think that's what he wanted. He just, his idea for his soccer academy was so attractive to me. I'm just like, he is such a humanitarian. He want to take people less fortunate and give them opportunities. He want to house these motherfuckers. He want to feed them. He want to teach them. I thought, I'm just like, I was, I'm like, wow. But in all actuality, he just really want money. He want what everybody else got. Can't stay focused on his dream. And it sound big, but you can start from anywhere. He was a soccer coach for his son's team. So, I'm pretty sure he probably felt like it was too big of a dream, but If God put it in your heart, look at that. Look at that butterfly. That's a moth. Hello, dear. But I just feel like if God put it in your heart, if the idea was planted in your head, it was meant for you. You know, he took a trip over to Africa. You know, he said one thing about the trip, but the video that he made, you know, I really didn't see too much of what was going on. It's, you know, it's kind of like he was more so touring Nigeria. He went to Nigeria. It just seemed like he was touring Nigeria. He wasn't really setting things up, you know, and he had a friend who is Nigerian, you know, plays football, soccer, you know, and, you know, that friend loved his idea, you know, believed in his idea and wanted, you know, them to collaborate. But, and my thing is, if I'm your woman, why didn't you just tell me that I'm afraid this shit not gonna work? I'm afraid that I can't do it. Obviously, you don't have enough self-motivation or self-confidence to do it yourself. So why wouldn't you allow me to be that support system if I'm your woman? That's what I'm saying. And he would always question, because I would tell him, I said, you know, you don't really love me. You just feel like you do. And he used to question why I would say that. And it's the simple shit like that, like the lack of communication. You know, this is our lives here. What the fuck do you want? We done moved in. We got these children. Like, this is not a game. But in the end, you know, he out here, it's like he's acting his life out. You go over to Nigeria, you shoot this video, but nothing is really going on. It's kind of like all for show. Then you come back, and you're not doing anything to pursue this dream. Then he's lying about how much money he makes. You know, and I'm just like, I overlooked all of these red flags. You know, that's why they say love is blind, because it definitely is. But at the same time, when you love someone, you know, you love them, you respect them. Even if you don't agree with some shit, you know, either you're going to make the choice to support them or what. I mean, but I was never getting the truth. I was never getting what was really going on with him. And it's just like, why are you sitting up here pretending in front of me? We live together. There's only so much that you can hide from me. Then on top of that, I'm supposed to be the woman that you love. Like, what's up? Why do you even love me if you don't feel safe with confiding in me or opening up to me? I just, you know, this is why I would say what I said. You know? So anyway, 5 of Cups in reverse. So he's getting over the disappointment of things. I feel like there's been a lot of changes in his life that he has not adapted to. He's been more so resistant. I think the disappointment that he really feels is the disappointment within himself. It's like he wants to trigger me. It's like he wants to target me and make me the reason as to, you know, why he didn't make his dreams come true. But he just, that's what he chose. I did what I could do. But when I saw he won't serious, he won't try to do nothing. You know, I was like, well, fuck it. You know, like I got to get back to doing the things in which that I do, that I want to do, because these things make me happy. You know, this relationship doesn't make me happy. Being with him doesn't make me happy. If anything, it brings me anxiety and worry. You know, so I stopped focusing on so much of him in the relationship, and I started focusing back on myself. And I know for sure he started to resent me for that. But it's just like, come on, how unreasonable is that? So anyway, when it comes to me, I have the Page of Pentacles and the 6 of Wands, the 7 of Wands in the position of my crown. So yes, I am standing up for myself. And I'm going to keep doing it. You know, I don't have to go so hard with the shit, but what is this? Because this talks about fantasy, and then this talks about pleasure. And then this talks about rising to the challenge of something, rising to the challenge of pleasure. I experience a lot of pleasure. It's just food is my number one. So what are you saying? Is it something sexual? It's something sexual. Mm. Fantasy and pleasure. Fantasy and pleasure. So what is my fantasy? I've always fantasized about having like a big scary boyfriend or lover that that everybody is afraid of, but he's like gentle and soft with me. Um, are you talking about sexual fantasy? Right? I didn't think so. It's not anything lusty, but I mean that's just a fantasy because I mean I don't want somebody who's going to be big and scary to the point to where people are scared of them. But I mean I know that I'm big and scary too. So I guess in a way I've become everything that I've wanted. When I first started off having sex, of course, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have my first orgasm from penetration until I was 22. I didn't have my first orgasm from oral sex until I was 19. I started having sex at the age of 16. So, I always wanted to know what it was like to ejaculate, female ejaculate. you know. So how old was I? I think I was either 26 or 27 when I had my first experience of female ejaculation. You know, when I was with my ex, I would let him put it in my butt, but I don't like that. That shit is not pleasurable. It's not really a fantasy of mine. So, I guess I pretty much made my fantasies happen, except for having a big scary boyfriend. But like I said, I'm scary. I think people, they're not afraid of me. They're just afraid, of what they have experienced from me. But, I don't take joy in scaring people. That's why I be trying to warn people. Who the fuck wants to be scary, unless you want to be alone. But shit, sometimes I do feel like if I have to be alone for the rest of my life, I really wouldn't mind that. As long as I'm good, stable financially, as long as I'm good, I could be alone for the rest of my life. Because the truth is, I'll never be alone. So what about this pleasure? So going to the beach, I know I need to wax. But what are you trying to tell me? I think it has something to do with like intimacy. It's been years. Well, I slipped up recently. Last year, I had a little rendezvous. And from that experience, when I reflected on it, it's like, yeah, I feel like I should have been more affectionate. But, when me and my son's father are intimate with each other, it's like a business transaction. So from my other experience, I realized that, I have been trained a certain way as to how to perform sexually. And, I mean, you can only make love to somebody who's in love with you. You know what I'm saying? Or either they're naturally just a love maker. But, I have experienced multiple ways of pleasure, sexually and just overall. So too much pleasure can't overstimulate you too, though, right? When it comes to the food, me eating too much of the pleasure foods, it overstimulates the body. Well, my body start breaking out, putting on the goddamn weight, so I don't know. I know that people fantasize about me because I can always pick it up. I don't always pick up who it's from, but I can pick it up. I can feel it. You know. But I'm kind of stuck with that pleasure card. I don't understand what that's about. Are you telling me I need to have an orgasm? Is that what you're telling me? That's not what it's telling me. I'm about to say, you know. Well, I guess I have to be enlightened to that because I'm really not understanding what all of this is. Just with this pleasure card, I don't anticipate. I'm not anticipating anything. I don't think I'm going to be surprised by anything. I got about 6 months. So in 6 months, I might meet somebody in 6 months, I guess. Maybe something like that. There may be a window that opens up for me the next 6 months to explore something pleasurable. That last experience I had was not pleasurable, but it wasn't terrible neither. I wish he was just more romantic and not so impulsive to just do. You know what I mean? But he pays for a lot of tricks. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we both had something to learn from that experience because he realized how disconnected he was. But when we talked, he was craving what I could give him. But even when he got it and when he received it, just like with me, there was certain things that we realized that we could have been more of. You got to practice. You got to practice. I do. I wish I was more affectionate. Like I wish that I would have touched him more, held him more, like kissed him more, like just took my time. But I'm kind of trained to get straight to the point with it. That's dealing with me and my son's father because life. I got shit to take care of. And like I said, we do what we do because. Fairness, balance. Then on top of that, orgasms help with, your vibration and having to deal with this stupid ass witchcraft that they have been trying to throw at us and all this type of stuff, So had to make sacrifices, I feel like this is a warning. God is telling me you got 6 months. So in that 6 month period, you need to be getting your body together, practicing, taking better care of yourself. Because intimacy, I be breathing heavy, Like when I think about somebody getting close to me, I just be like, I don't want this motherfucker to hear that I just be breathing heavy. Then I be dealing with these allergies, these chemtrails, my nose be stuffed up a lot. And, sometimes I be snoring. I don't want to be I don't want to be snoring and he can't get a good night's sleep. So, I got my little flaws and my little self-conscious things that I have going on. You know what I mean? I don't know. We shall see. So anyway, till the next time. Ciao.